How important is payment as an experience?
Trust me, 100 users trying to make a payment and 20 failing is a big number.
Imagine if there were 2% airlines crashing every day. If medical industry was to fail 20% of the time, then why should payments be different?
Why anybody needs, first of all, a payment orchestration and the thought process behind it.
Orchestration layer is not just solving a problem of payment efficiency, also how do we solve problem of overall experience?
How that experience will come? Obviously, whichever platform is giving you good success rate.
The safest, the cheapest,
Yes.
the best experience. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Fintech Pulse. Really excited to bring this to you. My name is Bindesh, Group VP at Comviva, handling the Fintech business. Today we intend to talk about payment orchestration, what is the impact it has on payments, customer experience, right? And we have two great gentlemen to talk on this. We have Chirantan Sharma and we have Rajesh Fondekar. Chirantan heads product management at Ferns Petals. Rajesh heads product management at Comviva. Thank you, Chirantan and Rajesh, for being here today. Now we'll start with probably a cliche question. Why don't you just help us with your respective journeys, personally, where you grew up, what you did, what you studied.
Yeah.
Product management expert bane kaise?
Yeah. So, Bindesh, I was born and brought up in Rajasthan, Jaipur. And after that, completing my MBA, I started my career in consulting firm. Then for a good decade, I worked in telecom, even sold the SIM cards from one shop to another. So like good 10 years in telecom, and then from a marketing, journey, I transformed myself into a product. And then since last 7-8 years, I'm into product management. So that's like a career snapshot for me. Yeah.
Okay. Rajesh, what about you?
I actually started journey as a financial analyst, and my ambition was to be in finance, hardcore finance. I was actually doing my PhD in options and futures valuations. And while doing that and while working partly for some Swiss banks, I happened to meet a banker in ICICI, and we happened to discuss technology. I don't have a technological background. I never studied technology, but he said, we are coming up with internet banking, and why don't you join us? And that's how my journey to complete turn from being a financial analyst into product management, for which I had never studied again. And internet was at a very nascent stage. So it was a very exciting journey to see how internet banking grew right from year 2000. Bill payments were getting introduced. In fact, we launched the first interbank fund transfer way back in 2002. That was a learning, and that was my initiation into payments. And then from there to cards, to debit cards, credit cards, retail channels, corporate banking, corporate channels, transaction banking. And that's been all year long. All my life been doing, feels like it's my lifetime therefore doing payments of various hues now.
Interesting. So you went from Chirantan, basically retail, or very close to retail, into product management. And I guess we have a stock analyst turned payment product management expert. Great, I think. So we'll have a very interesting conversations, I guess. Now, I think one common thread which sort of ties both of you, obviously, is your own sort of linkage to payment as a domain, as a broader domain, right? As you obviously, you would have solved this puzzle from banking standpoint, and now obviously solving this puzzle from a provider standpoint. And I guess same applies to you. You're probably trying to marry the retail experience you had, and now you obviously provide that retail experience to your consumers and blending payments into it. How important is payment as an experience in general? Maybe Chirantan, if you start with you first.
So we are in the business of occasion. So Ferns Petals is all about gifting. And when you're sending gifts, there are a lot of emotions which are involved. So first of all, finding a perfect gift is a dilemma, and it even gives the savviest of shoppers some sweat. So especially if you're gifting it to someone whom you love. So now what happens is that think of a journey of a customer. That customer has bought something researched, found something, and now he or she is on the last stage where they're trying to make the payment, and if payment fails or any glitches, I mean, just imagine how frustrating it can be. The user has to start the journey again. So having a good payment system which allows a frictionless payment, I mean, it's a delight. And if you really talk about in today's world, if you talk about customer experience, then if I have to say top 2-3 things, like something like real time, frictionless, personalization, these are the key important things that a consumer look at. And if you have that in payment, yeah, it makes a lot of difference.
Rajesh, your own take on this?
It's been an interesting question, and I often answered. We bankers, and I would talk of bankers. We have knack of solving problems. So, when payment, the first problem that occurred is how do we give cash to customers? So, some smart banker thought I'll give you an ATM, and it was a wonderful innovation that time. I have a machine, I go dip my card, put my pin, take the cash out 24/7. I think that's the first step towards making cash and payments available 24/7. From there, we went to internet banking, or rather before that, phone banking. Again, we gave T-pins and said, okay, you can do phone payments 24/7. Then came internet banking. Again, internet banking, pin, T-pin, two-factor authentications came. Then came mobile banking, and then again, And then at that point in time, somewhere in 2008, and I used to reflect, have we really made life easy for customers? My father used to have one checkbook. Whether he's making a bill payment, whether he's transferring to you elsewhere, he would sign the same way. If I wanted to check my balance, I had only one passbook with 2 instruments. I could do so many things. And that collapsed into RTGS, NEFT, IFSC codes, OTPs. We actually made life difficult. Honestly, we made life difficult. And I think it's over last 5-7 years with embedded payments and frictionless payments, which Chirantan talked about. Finally, there's some sense that's coming, and payments are actually getting easier. With UPI, I think there's one singular experience, whether I pay bill, whether I pay at restaurant, whether I pay for gift. It's the same way I pay, and that is what I think it should be. It should be easy, it should be frictionless, it should be intuitive, it should have a very fast learning curve. And that's where I kind of, get aligned to this vision of embedded payments, the frictionless payments, ease of payments. And that's where, when we see world going, it creates a lot of exciting opportunities, saying how do I make it more easier now? How do I make it more better for customers finally? And hopefully it doesn't have to remember those 20 passwords, 30 OTPs, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. I think, as you mentioned, banking has evolved. Payments in general, I think the space has evolved. Definitely, as consumers, we have far more options. Now, maybe a fun question that way is, the last online purchase you did?
I think for me, yesterday I bought some food from Zomato.
Okay. And you?
I think for me, it's most of the time tickets, travel for myself or my family, and of course food.
And maybe just to build on to this question.
Let me just add it to what you just said. So, before that, the last was Zomato, and I traveled somewhere in a cab yesterday. Just imagine a scenario a few years back when you were taking a taxi and at least you were, paying cash and stuff. When my destination came, I just opened the door and I walked away. So that's the, kind of innovation we are talking about. The payment has already done, right? So that's when I said that if you talk about customer experience, what role payment plays, this is the role. The expectation is that it happens real time, frictionless, and you don't feel. And at the same time, there is a trust. That customer has a trust that, okay, I can make this payment. There is a OTP. The mechanism is so secure that the customer feel confident. I think this is the simplest way I look at payments at the end of the day.
No, I think Chirantan, fair point. Convenience, basically, security, right, and real time for sure. But it is also easier said than done, right? We all have experience, I guess, payment failures one time or the other, right? There are industry data around this, upwards of $30 odd billion, gets lost. Now, again, not necessarily just from FNP prism, but in general, the larger e-commerce prism. How big is this problem of payments and payments failing. Is this just a small problem, one odd, or it is really as big as the reports make it out to be?
I think it's we have come a long way, but still it's a big problem because out of 120 are failing. I mean, this average is different for different industry, but trust me, 100 users trying to make a payment and 20 failing is a big number.
Absolutely.
This has improved over the years, but it's 20. It's still 20. Why it should be 20? It should be like 1 or 2%. I don't know. So that's the scope. And obviously, I mean, Rajesh is there. He can talk about what are the reasons. But the systems are so complex, and there are so many hooks, loops, etc. So there's a scope of improvement, a lot of scope.
Rajesh, your own views?
I completely align with what Chirantan. There is a scope for improvement, but I think what is the tolerance is where I have a disconnect with you. Yes, banking is complex. Isn't airline industry complex?
Yeah.
Imagine if there were 2% airlines crashing every day. Can you imagine? Imagine an airline says, like you said, some industries experience 20% failure rate. Imagine if medical industry was to fail 20% of the times.
Yeah.
So if there are more complex industries which can operate at near zero, an airline crash is a big event by itself.
Yeah.
Then why should payments be different?
Shouldn't be.
Right? So
Should
just
be.
put that in context of failures we see in some of those key industries. If we just take banking and start putting those kind of failures in those industries, where would we end up?
No, I think very interesting perspective for sure. And I think you're solving that problem through payment orchestration. Just run us through the entire thought process. I mean, why anybody needs, first of all, a payment orchestration and the thought process behind it, and then where obviously you see this going.
I think Chirantan should answer that first. It
Yeah.
starts
Okay, let
with
me
the
answer
need.
it from the merchant's perspective. So any merchant will have multiple partners for multiple payment modes. You will have payment aggregators, like if you talk about India, you will have Razorpay, PayU, CC Avenue, etc. There are many. Each of the aggregator is actually offering one or two payment modes which are good. Then there are cost related angles, that one aggregator will give you better price, another will. So managing so many aggregators, and at the same time, last weekend there was one of the aggregator which was down. UPI was working well in one aggregator, it was not working in another one. So when a customer looks at it, they don't care, they don't know what's happening behind the scene. But if you go behind the scene, there are so many partners, so many layers, and for a merchant to manage that, if I really talk about myself, like Ferns Petals or even the similar size organization, it's very difficult to manage the integration and get the best value out of it. So I think that's how I look at it, and ultimately this translates into the good customer experience. Cost is also a big factor here.
So, I'll start with where Chirantan left off, and again using that analogy so that all of us understand what happens. Let's say if I'm flying to a particular airport, and for whatever reason my aircraft cannot land at that airport. Imagine a situation, only thing that's left for the pilot is to crash it. And that's what happens in a usual PG kind of context. So if that particular PG or method is not working, only other option is to fail it. And that's where I think the orchestration layer comes in. It's kind of an ATC. It will say, okay, you can't land here, you go to the efficiently to another airport. So ensure there's a safe landing. And that's the perspective I think we should have, saying, there are going to be inefficiencies. Nobody in the world is efficient. But there is a possibility of building an efficiency layer on top of it, which would then orchestrate and ensure, just the way ATC does, ensuring every aircraft lands safely to its destination. If not, when contingencies happen, diverting it to a newer airport, or managing within its air zone to ensure that entire operations are efficient. And that's the role which we wish to play as an orchestration layer. And a critical part of that orchestration layer would be to understand what is his intent, a merchant's intent. What does he want? What is his priority? Efficiency, cost, success rates, customer experience, all of that bound into one. It's like not just landing an aircraft, but also your airport experience, what you are, offer to the customer. And that's how we are looking at, orchestration layer as not just solving a problem of payment efficiency, also how do we solve problem of overall experience that a merchant can offer very, very seamlessly.
So again, I think beautifully put, and I'll take this corollary forward. So essentially, we are saying we have the merchant, which, okay, let us assume that to be the aircraft and the pilot, right? Then we have the various airports. Let's call them payment gateways, right?
Yeah.
Each airport offering a landing strip, an experience of its own, right? And like you said, in case an airport is not available, then what do we do? Do we crash it, or do we have alternate mechanisms? And which is where, let us say, maybe we as an payment orchestration, come in, I guess, maybe playing the role of an ATC, and maybe a role of ATC slightly broad, in a broad-based context that you cover multiple air zones, right? Now, in this within this corollary, how important, and Chirantan, maybe I'll start with you, is for that ATC to be neutral, right? Because let us say, because in the industry, all of us know, I will not take names, but you have, let us say, the airport and the ATC, both capabilities offered by same providers, right? ATC by in principle is supposed to be neutral, right? And actually look at various parameters and say land on this airport or land on that airport. How important is this from a merchant standpoint?
So when I was talking about this, being neutral is very important. What merchants are expecting right now is recommendation. So like Rajesh, if we talk about, like, everybody's talking about AI these days, and if we talk about the headless data that orchestrator can have, and based on the data that they have, they can actually recommend which payment platform is performing better. Now it's the choice of the merchant to decide that where to go, where not to go. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, the aim of the merchant is to have a good customer experience, right? And how that experience will come? Obviously, whichever platform is giving you good success rate, traffic has to be diverted there. In the context of airline and airstrip, the safest airstrip which is available, the plane should land there.
The safest, the cheapest,
Yes.
with the best experience.
Yes, this context can change when it comes to payments, because like Rajesh said that planes cannot crash, but if 0.5% success rate is dropping, but I'm saving some dollars, yeah, it's worth it. I mean, that's a merchant's call. Like I said, you talk about the neutrality, that's what it is.
Interesting. And I think, Rajesh, I'll bring the question on AI to you. What kind of role, obviously, you see AI playing in this whole journey, and what is the potential you see using AI in this landscape?
I think AI is more and more going to be extremely ingrained in the entire process of orchestration. As Chirantan said, right from recommending a right, or rather that's the later part of it, actual recommending. I think it starts with the setup. Today, if a merchant has to set up, honestly, orchestration layer, even if you had 2 or 3 payment methods, the basic 1 or 2 PGs and few payment methods, potentially it opens up around 17 to 18, 20,000 rules. Now imagine somebody is actually sitting and configuring. Like today, when FNP went live with us, immediately they saw some improvement in success rate. It's not because we did some magic. It's just that we had time, patience, and since it was part of our business, we went through those 18,000 rules and ensured, optimized them to ensure that 2-3% jump. And then, we'll keep on optimizing to get that jump. An average retailer is not supposed to do that. It is neither his expertise, nor he would have resources, nor patience to sit and do it. It's something that can be outsourced. The AI starts there. Today, it is still left to a judgment. It's left to formulas. AI would be actually, where I foresee an engine which would help you get the right set of recommendations, you accept those recommendations, and then refine those recommendations on the go as the cycle comes, during the cycle itself, which is one part of AI role. The second part is also in terms of real-time personalization, in terms of checkout experience, real-time personalization. How orchestrators can either supplement or complement retailers his own intelligence in terms, that entire intelligence which I'm sure you would be working on in terms of how do you recommend the right product, how do you make him select that right product, how do you push him down the further sales channel, what experience you want to offer to a say premium customer, to a non other customers, and ensuring that particular experience doesn't get broken when it comes to the experience layer, the payment layer, and it carries on further. And I think that's where AI, talking to each other, working together, having that agentic codes will help.
I think I'll probably take this AI conversation a bit forward. And Rajesh, maybe to you first. You obviously gave the corollary of the plane crashing, right? Now with AI and whatever promise it holds, do you really see that the chances of that plane crashing coming down from 20% to say within acceptable limits using AI, or we will still have to live with some amount of failure rates irrespective of what AI does or not does?
See, if a mishap has to happen, it will. If something really, really is unavoidable, it will. That's the force of nature, right? Things do happen, and same with payments. If a particular payment has to fail, it will. It's fate. Where I draw a line is the payment could have been potentially successful and it has not been rescued. It's like a plane or any emergency happens. If there's a way to rescue, all effort should be made to rescue, and that's where AI perhaps could react, recommend, and act faster than a human can. Or for human, many a times it will be a hindsight. I see a certain particular payment trend and failure trend, and then I go and fix it. We would always be playing catch up rather than proactively trying to predict, saying okay, it's going in a certain direction and I need to fix it before even a mishap happens. So I hope with AI, way it's evolving, I'm hopeful that we should get more predictive, we should get more proactive rather than reactive, and leaving that buck on the table. If it is not meant to fail, it should not fail. All efforts out should be to ensure that it is successful, the payment is successful.
Interesting. Now, Chirantan, you mentioned FNP is in the business of delivering experiences.
Yeah.
Payment obviously is one part of experience, but you also are sitting on a lot of data. So what is the potential you see, A, obviously vis-a-vis AI and the payment experience you deliver, and B, the larger sort of experience you deliver to customers? What is the promise you see, or you feel this is just an hype?
You're talking about in the context of payment or
Payment obviously, right? And what promise you see with AI in context of payment.
Okay.
And then I think the broader business you have, which is again, you have a lot of customer data, and like you said, you deliver customer experiences. So do you really see a promise using that data?
There's a big promise. Let me just say this way, that whenever a customer is ordering a gift for mother, father, friends, etc., so the occasions repeat, and like I started my conversation, that finding a gift is a dilemma, and especially when you want it to be special, and when you want the other person to feel that the person who has sent the gift to you is thoughtful. So product recommendation becomes very important, and helping the customer to navigate through this journey, because they don't know what to buy. So product recommendation by using their past experiences, what they like, what they don't like, etc. AI can play definitely a very big role in recommendation and product personalization. So that is one part of it. Now talking about the payments, of course, why not? Because journeys can be simplified there also. Like if most of the users are using UPI and the success rate is good for them, everybody is having 2 or 3 payment modes available with them. The recommendation can be given there also. That if you choose this, your payment will happen in single click. So why not?
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Now, as a merchant, I think because you are into the B2C space, right, and you sit on a lot of customer data, we have talked about the promise AI has. How much AI is too much AI? because we also see and there are talks of responsible AI in that context as to. So where do you as a merchant draw the line in terms of using that customer data and obviously massaging it with AI?
First of all, you should never make a customer feel weird about the information that is available. Like, let me just give you one example. If you walk into a hotel and if the person starts talking about you, that hello sir, etc., and talking and taking your name, that's fine. But there is a thin line between personalization, and then entering into the personal boundary. So even if you have that data available with that, you should not use it, you should not cross that boundary, otherwise it looks weird. Like, let me just say it this way, that if I go and trying to order something, then if the hotelier is telling me, sir, last time you ate tandoori chicken, it was very nice, and this time maybe I'm vegetarian, then I will feel a little weird that, okay, how do they know? Are they constantly watching me? So that's the fine line that you have to maintain. And now if you talk about, especially about India, I mean in Europe, we have GDPR there, but we have also progressed with DPDP Act, which is already done and final rules will come in. So the data is actually customers' property. That's what, and you have to take consent to use it, but headless data you can use it. I mean, when you're not specific, and then that you can use it. So we are also cautious about it. We respect that.
I think Rajesh, maybe taking the same question forward to you, but from slightly different perspective. Obviously, your perspective as a former banker as to, again, how much AI is too much AI from a banker's prism. And then secondly, obviously, as your product management head had, how do you sort of enable usage of AI while respecting those boundaries? So your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it starts, I think, especially when it comes to recommendations, as Chirantan said, a very thin line between intrusion and personalization. Where does it end? Needs to be very careful. Over-engineered campaigns can backfire. I'm sure you're aware of the Target use case, where a father received for his 16-year-old daughter a campaign on recommending maternity clothes. And when he actually fought, then he realized they were actually capturing data of daughter's web search, and that's how they figured out she was pregnant even before father did. Okay. Right? So there are these boundaries we should respect. There are responsibilities one should have, and as a product manager I would take it a bit further. Like, I very confidently spoke a few moments back about how we would be recommending, and but if recommendation does go wrong, like today, if a particular setup does go wrong, I know which engineer configured it, which product manager approved it, what went wrong, and I can correct it. But when AI agent goes wrong, I should also have the interrogability of it. I should be able to interrogate it. If it just starts everything being in a black box where I cannot decipher what it does, especially with new AI which learns on itself, it can be a monster which is unmanageable. And there have been evidence of it. It's not that I'm speculating. If there was a Facebook chat experiment, I don't know where they created 2 chatbots would speak to each other in 2 different languages to see how they interact. And over a period of time, these chatbots realized that there is somebody watching us. They created their own third language, even they did not know. They actually had to shut it down. There have been multiple such AIs which have gone wrong. If you are interested, there's a AI. One of the success stories was NVIDIA. They actually had a driverless car where it was made to learn on its own. Unlike Google and others who kind of created a driving protocol and then it learned. They said observe the traffic and start learning in a very sane traffic zone. First few moments it was actually behaving like an ideal driver, but over a period it started nudging people, started accelerating, and they did not know why. Right? Because agent will learn a lot of things. So we need to be careful in those zones. It is a terra incognita for many of us. All of us are learning. But having that back thought, I need to be grounded. I need to have those levers still in my hand to control that AI is going to be critical from the product management perspective, especially.
Rajesh is trying to scare us.
But that scare is there. That real scare is there with AI. Yeah.
I agree with you, Rajesh. I think we need to have proper railguards
Yes.
so that the bot should not start hallucinating.
Correct.
That's what we need to
Precisely.
control. Yeah.
So I guess the broader consensus we are coming at is bot with brain is the answer and not the bot alone.
Rather brain with the bot.
Or the vice versa. Absolutely.
Let's put brain first and the bot later.
Now, Chirantan, obviously talking specifically the partnership and the work we are doing together, Comviva and FNP. Your general thoughts on the partnership, how the journey has been so far, and what is the future you see?
Yeah, so the journey has been very exciting. I mean, I have lived that journey, so it was very exciting from the beginning, and the product has delivered what it promised, and we have seen the consistent improvement in the matrices that we were expecting any which ways. So yeah, that's when I talk about at large, you know. And during the journey, we learned a lot, and the market is changing so fast. So that's one thing that we also have to, you know, start doing now. That's about the journey. If I have to talk about the future, I think we have already spoken about what is the promise of AI. AI with the brain or brain with the AI, whatever you call it, Bindesh. But if that comes in, then the bridge which is there, like, you know, the 20% or landing on the right airstrip, that's the journey that has to be covered. Yeah, that's what I look at it.
And Rajesh, where do you see, again, as somebody who's heading the product, the brain behind this product, where do you see this heading in near future?
I think the product will more and more talk about solving inefficiencies. It will be more about offering experience, inefficiencies through experience. To how do I create a product which is mass customizable? So as I said, I may want to offer best of the journeys or whatever, but that should not be the intent. Intent should be how do I supplement and complement merchant journeys. What Chirantan and his journeys are, what he wants to offer to customer. It's my business to ensure it doesn't get broken up. I may enhance it, I may make it more efficient, but it should always be loyal and subservient to what merchant wants and his customer wants. And that's where that neutrality, fairness, and being closely aligned to the merchant will come into play. And that's how this product has to be, if I have to put it in English rather than product features. As long as we deliver on these tenets of the product, I think it should make Chirantan and his team happy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Would have loved, obviously, for this conversation to carry on. I think really was enjoying it. But anyways, I know we are short on time, so we'll get into some rapid fire questions, some fun questions, right?
Sure.
So short answers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any book you are reading these days?
Yeah.
Which one?
Don't believe everything that you think. I don't know if that's a correct title, but yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Rajesh, what about you?
The Lords of Sea and Lands, the Chola Empire.
Interesting.
Interesting topic. Hollywood, Bollywood?
Bollywood.
Sorry, neither.
Tollywood?
No, I barely watch movies.
You barely watch movies. And Chirantan, do you play some sport or follow some sport?
I used to, but these days I'm like not playing anything. Yeah.
Rajesh, what about you?
Used to play, but I try to exercise whenever I can. Not as much as I should, but.
I know.
And I know both of you are foodies, right?
Yeah.
Any interesting cuisines you have had of late you want to recommend?
I'm trying a lot of Japanese these days. So trying to, understand that how they're able to eat everything raw. But yeah, that's one thing I'm trying these days. Recommendations are, many. By the way, I love Indian food. I love chaat, and when I'm now turned into a vegetarian. So the only counter that I always give any non-vegetarian is that you may have kebabs, but we have chaats.
Nice one. Rajesh, your recommendation on cuisine?
since I've just moved into Bangalore, I'm exploring the local cuisine. But I'm honestly cuisine agnostic. But yeah, my favorite food is, being from Goa, seafood. I cannot have a meal without a piece of fish on the plate. But yeah, currently very interesting cuisine of Karnataka is what I'm exploring. Different parts of Karnataka.
I guess the love of for fish is not a surprise being a Goan, so that's nice. Maybe last couple of questions. So if there would be one advice you could give to your younger self right now, obviously with hindsight, benefit of hindsight, what would be that?
Start saving.
I guess all of us would benefit from that advice.
But yesterday we heard, right?
Yeah.
Die with zero over.
Yeah.
Dive with.
Basically spend everything in that moment,
It's
enjoy
about
that
experiences,
moment.
life, saying, experience life when you can.
Yeah. Rather than actually saving and then obviously you don't have time for it. Right, guys, I think great conversation. One parting thought you want to, leave for the audience, people watching, fintech enthusiasts, merchants, yeah, what would be that?
I think I will talk in the context of customer experience. So we are realizing more and more that customer experience trumps the brand these days, and real, if a customer repeats your purchase, that's the proof of the pudding in today's scenario. And payments have become so important because post digitization of everything, they are like the most critical part of the entire journey in online space, if I have to talk about. And the pace at which the innovation has happened in the last 4-5 years, it's like amazing. We might have taken 20 years from cash to maybe first digital transaction, but I think we're talking about UPI 3.0 these days. So the innovation and the amount of work that's happening in this space is huge, and definitely AI is going to bring a lot of good things in payments also. That's what I hope.
I think you said proof of the pudding. Definitely in context of what we are doing together, we do have a proof of the pudding. I think FNP team and Comviva teams together have won an award. So congratulations. Thanks, Chirantan.
Thank you.
Rajesh, your parting thoughts?
I think it's exciting times to be in. For once, payments are coming outside of the banks, and with fintechs and other players, banks opening up, is creating opportunities to offer experiences which bank cannot. And I think that's what all banks, all merchants, and everyone will have to kind of ingrain. If I cannot offer an experience, finally it's experiential economy. I will partner with somebody who can help me offer that experience. And I think those are the new spaces in business will come, which should start selling experiences to experience sellers, like yourselves.
A very interesting point
Nice way to put it.
end on. Selling experiences to experience sellers. Thank you, Chirantan and Rajesh. Really enjoyed this conversation on payment orchestration and beyond. I think very interesting perspectives. Thank you so much for taking out time. I hope all of you also enjoyed this conversation as much as I did having this with Chirantan and Rajesh. You can obviously get more such content on Fintech Pearls from Comviva. So please be on lookout on various Comviva channels. Thank you so much.